In this video help, I'm going to cover the Sales Portal screen. The Sales Portal screen is a sub-screen that is related to the actual sales screen. If you look at this window, the top portion of the data that is shown here is exactly the same as you would see on the sales invoice screen where you do the input. The purpose of this particular screen is twofold. The first one is to manage the individual rows in the invoice on the input area of the main screen. Let's go over and look at that, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Each one of the line items in an invoice has its own portal record, so that if you go to the portal at the end of the screen and tap on this icon, it'll open that particular record. If for some reason you're adding items in an invoice input area and you want to remove them completely, you would use this button up here to remove them, which would delete this record. You click that and this record is removed. In most cases, you would only do that where there would be a circumstance where you're editing the input invoice to remove something that, for example, might have been a quote and the person did not want to actually buy the item, but you quoted it to them for later, and you marked the item in your list notes, your line notes, that it was a quoted item and not part of the actual invoice. Now, the way you would manage that is in the records, when you have the line item in the record, you would take the quantity and remove it as far as 0 and put 0 in there. That way it will not sum the total of the item in the invoice, but it will put it in there as an item that's under consideration in, say, like, for example, if you did a quote or you did an entire invoice where everything was quoted, and you gave a narrative in the thing that the final price would be for everything. Or what you can do as an alternative, you can put the quantity in, summarize everything in the invoice, and have the summary total at the bottom of the invoice when you go to print it. And that way this information that's provided here would show up on the invoice, then go back in and remove the quantities from this to keep it as a neutral invoice, not charging anything to the system. Because what happens if you do a invoice input and you put the data in and collect it, and you don't have the plan to actually have payments provided for on the payment tab for these items because it's a quoted item, you do not want to leave that information in your system because it carries through for all the different reports and the account ledger as an item that was charged and or paid for or not paid for. So you do not want to run that in the system as far as keeping it in the line items. So let's go back to the portal again. One of the other things that's in the portal, if you want to use it, it does have the category portal. So if you click on this, it's going to give you the like items in the inventory system that are on the different invoices that are available from the inventory items that are available in that category. So for example, if we're looking at all the diaper bags or whatever, you would use that information in the category listing. And you can go to the category screen by clicking on this button at the end of the row so you can see all the items that are also like that. Now, just so you know, when you're creating a category portal item, you do need to add all the category items manually. There is no automated way to add them in this screen. It's a convenience. I've talked about the Swiss Army knife approach, that if you want to use the categories, they are available. This was an option that I did for a client, and it made a lot of sense for it to be available to all the different clients for this application. And it gives you a way to see other competing products and price information by looking at the particular items, and also being able to look at them in the category listing record. And the way you do that is you would click in the drop-down list or the category list for that item and go to that screen on the categories. And that is done by looking at the different options that are available for drop-downs. There's a drop-down menu that is included in the screen. Now, you don't see it all in the particular view that I'm showing you, but all the screens in the application are available on the iPad, on the cloud, or on a compiled version of the app. All the screens are shown, so you can access those to get information from the actual screen itself. So if you're looking at the category screen, that's what you would go do. And here it is, the category portal right here. So if I clicked on it, it would take me to that category portal. The other information in the portal, let's go back to it. Like I said, you have the text from the inline line notes. You also have the information. Now, what you can do in this screen, since this is the individual portal record, is that you can do finds in here. Now, notice that there's no new records that are created in here, and do not use any of the menus to create new child records. You always do that from the portal within the main screen to add those items. But you can search here to bring up all the items that pertain to a certain thing. That, for example, if you wanted to see all the diaper bags, for example, you could use either the category field to do that, or you can use the actual screen where it shows the diaper bag. You could put that in there with the word diaper or bag or color in the bag, and it would find that item in all the listed records within the portal. In addition, you can use the store location or the salesperson or any field in this area to locate the information. And a little trick of the trade is that you can actually also use this field, which is considered what they call a blog field. It's just a lot of data in it. You could find, for example, if you were looking for one specific word or phrase, you could use the do find and find all the records that have that same information in them throughout all the records in the sales inventory system. It's just an option that you can use. Again, I want to just point out that there is a logo that you can add, and it's added here, but it shows up on the actual invoice when it's shown for the client. It is your logo on the invoice. If you have any questions, as usual, you can contact me using the shortcut to the support site. You can also ask questions on the support site using the chat help that's on the lower right corner of the screen. Thank you.